start streaming, hopefully. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I don't know whether this is going to work or not. Hello, I hope you can hear me. Welcome to a live stream. I know, I haven't done one of these in a while, but, you know, strange times call for strange measures. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. Obviously, I'm on a bit of a high, and I still want to talk about it. We got someone in the chat. Hello to Springtrap Lover 2010. Hello, how are you doing on this fine day? So yeah, I kind of just wanted to discuss a bit more in detail, I guess, what's been going on with the news, with Doctor Who, and with the future. And yeah, we're going to be just discussing some stuff that I didn't get to in the video, because obviously the video is very much just kind of my initial thoughts. I also put out a short as well for the people who attention spans have been fried by TikTok as well. But yeah, as you can probably tell, I'm pretty happy at the moment. But I want to discuss, like, more broadly what this means for the show going forwards. Hello to DWFan50 and Space Fluff, Doctor Who clips and discussions. Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I haven't done one of these in a while, but I want to give you my thoughts on all of this stuff, because I'm seeing a lot of discourse, as there always is. So one of the first things I want to kind of talk about, and it's something I touched on in the video itself, but I'm wondering, you know, what are we thinking on in terms of Russell? My question is, do you guys think that he's sticking around, or do you guys think that he is leaving? What are we thinking? What's our thoughts, chat? Because if you want to ask me, the way that they word, because I got up the quote for that YouTube short that I just made. The quote was something to the effect of, Russell has agreed to write another episode, which to me kind of suggests that he's not sticking around for much longer after this Christmas special. I think RTD will do a special, then go, okay, actually, you know what? I'm going to ask that now. I'm going to engage with the audience. Okay, I'm going to do a poll. Okay. Okay, so it's going to be a thing of, will, this is going to be fun, will RTD stay after the special? I will also say that I think notifications are on for, like, subscriptions and super chats and things. I haven't checked, to be honest. I wanted to go live. I'm hoping to make this a more regular thing again. Will RTD stay after the special? Let's have a look. Okay, so then it's yes or no, and then start poll. Okay, we'll see what you guys are saying. Okay, let's have a look, see what you guys are saying. Hello, Lucky B caught a live stream. I know, they don't happen very often. They're like, you know, they're like a comet. They only come around occasionally. Cheers from Australia. Hello, how are you doing? I saw someone from Argentina in the chat as well, so we got a bit of international audience going on, which is lovely to see. Very nice. Who do you think should play the Doctor in the CBeebies special? I don't know. Or the CBeebies show, I should say. I'm getting confused because they announced the special as well. I don't know, honestly. I reckon if it's just a voice role, they might get someone fairly like popular, maybe. I know that as well, actually, ironically. I know Sophie Aldred did a lot of voice acting for CBeebies back in the day. She was Trifu Tom, so maybe. After November, it's December. That is very true. I think he will leave and Eccleston will return to play the 16th Doctor. I doubt it, but you know what? I'd watch it. Mod from Germany, hello. Lots of different people here. Fairies, bring back Moffat. See, here's my thing though, right? I see a lot of people say this. I see a lot of people say, oh, well, now let's bring back Moffat. And my thing is, I feel like we need someone new. And this is another thing I want to say as well. Like, when we talk about, I might do a full video talking about, like, you know, like showrunner picks or suggestions or something. I might have to do some more research on, like, who's actually viable as a choice. But I kind of want someone who, like, hasn't worked on the show before, or at least hasn't maybe worked on it in a while, isn't one of the, like, the inner network of Doctor Who people. That's what I want, I think, because a lot of people will suggest people like Pete McTeague, and as I've said before, setting aside, like, I do like some of his episodes, and obviously War Between may be good, but I still kind of think that we need that completely fresh vision. Do you know what I mean? And I almost feel like, would Pete McTeague be the right person to deliver that? I don't know. You know what I mean? Sally Wainwright. Bro finally discovered shorts. I know. Do you know what? I was thinking the other day, I was like, okay, how do I, like, talk about stuff and, like, just talk about random Doctor Who stuff but not have to worry about the algorithm? And then I thought, well, if I do it in shorts, then the algorithm is irrelevant because it's completely different from the standard YouTube algorithm. So I was like, you know what? I'll just do that. Toby Whithouse, so we can finally have the Minister of War. I would like Toby Whithouse, but the thing is, he hasn't been involved in a long time, which I know I said that that would maybe be a good prerequisite for showrunner, is if they weren't, like a kind of regular contributor. But I suppose the issue with that is he's been distant from the show for so long that I don't know whether it's on his radar. And I guess this is one of the other issues as well we're going to have if they do get someone new, is like, who's going to want to do it kind of thing. Like, especially now, because let's be honest, the last couple of years haven't exactly been the most smooth sailing for the show. Who's going to want it kind of thing. Do you think RTD will bring back for the special? Wait, bring back who? I think your question got cut off. Should have been Moffat 2, not RTD 2. I'm going to be really honest, and this might be a hot take, but I reckon if it was Moffat 2, the same things that were being said about RTD 2, more or less, would also be being said about Moffat. Like, I'm going to lay that claim. Obviously, we'll never know because it didn't happen. But I honestly believe that if it was Stephen Moffat who came back, people would have got tired of it just as quickly. I mean, yeah, you might have had a couple more bangers in there, but I still think that, because people forget, everyone talks now about, like, the Capaldi era, and, like, look, there's a lot of fantastic episodes in the Capaldi era, do not get me wrong, but everyone kind of talks about it now like it was this universally beloved era at the time, and it just kind of wasn't. This is the truth of it. Like, people look back on eras past with more fondness. It's just, like, true. Don't get me wrong, in a lot of cases, old eras can do things better than current eras. That's not me saying they can't. But I think there is something to be said for the myth that someone builds in their heads about someone can often be better than the reality, or at the very least can be, like, exaggerated. Because here's the thing as well, Moffat did come back. He wrote Boom and he wrote Choice of the World, albeit under Russell. But, Boom was really good, but to be honest, and if I'm being really honest, I love Stephen. Joy to the World reminded me of the episodes I didn't like as much during his era. I even said at the time that I found it kind of mediocre. I agree that there's never been a share of praise where the show is under them. It's only afterwards they get praise. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, I think that, like, it's perfectly legitimate to criticise any showrunner, and I think I've had criticisms for all showrunners that have happened. But I think there tends to be this thing where as soon as someone leaves, they are treated as, like, God's gift, when the reality is when they were there, people kind of hated them. Well, not hated them, but, well, also, in all fairness, though, with Moffat, people were very mean to Moffat as well. Yeah, no, I don't want Moffat back. Again, I want someone new. Perhaps we can finally get Chris Marshall. The day that we get Chris Marshall is the day that Hell freezes over. Then again, Halo is on PlayStation now, so who knows, the old rules don't mean anything anymore. They're all gone. That's funny as well. I probably should say that when I heard that Doctor Who was coming back, or that it was not dead, I should say, I was actually playing, like, the new Donkey Kong Bonanza. They added an update to get new trophies, so I was playing some Donkey Kong Bonanza. I log on to Twitter for the first time in a couple hours, and then they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, Doctor Who's coming back, and you're like, oh, okay. It always happens when I'm not looking. Every time. Like, I can be sat here doing nothing for ages, and nothing will happen. No Doctor Who stuff will happen. And then the moment I turn my back, Doctor Who's announced to come back. It's always been how it goes. Every single time. Without fail. Do you think RTD will bring anyone back for the special? This is the interesting thing, isn't it? I would be more surprised if they didn't bring back Tennant for this special than if they did. I'm going to be so real. Like, we're already probably going to be in a scenario... where Billy Piper's the Doctor. They might as well just fully commit. Do you know what I mean? Because here's my thing as well. Because I see a lot of people saying, oh, well, you know, I didn't like Russell's writing in the previous era, which is valid, so I might not like this. But here's my thing. This special, no matter how it ends up, whether it ends up good, whether it ends up bad, whether it ends up mediocre, or whatever, it is not going to be indicative of what the show is going to be like beyond that, if that makes sense. Like, this episode, this special, seems to me like it's going to be the, you know, the farewell to this period of the show. Kind of hate the idea of another Stock reboot. So many new story threads got introduced in the past few years. I both agree and disagree. Part of me kind of thinks that, like, I both agree and disagree. Part of me thinks that, like, there's only so many times you can reboot something before the audience goes, but is it really new? But then another part of me thinks we kind of need a fresh start, because I think things got complicated again, and I think that the casuals just don't respond to that very well. RTD should, oh, I missed that. RTD should, oh, I missed it. RTD should just use the Christmas special to wrap up the stuff with the gold 14th Doctor, so a new writer can start fresh. Well, that's my thing, and that's why I think it'll almost certainly be a Billy Piper special of some capacity. Because, and I always said this, like, people were saying, I don't want another Russell episode. And my thinking was, you can't saddle a new writer with with that plot point. It just wouldn't be fair to them, you know. It would be unfair to them, and I think you've got to kind of let them have a clean slate. And I think that's what this episode will effectively serve to be. It will be the clean slate with which whoever comes next will then build off of that. What's interesting, I find as well, oh, we just had another £2 super chat as well. Hi, this is from Jason Ray Bravo GTS. I believe 14 will re-emerge with 15, 16. I think that is actually not a bad shout, and I could see that happening. I definitely think they're going to do something with 14. I'd be more surprised if they didn't do that. Do you know what I mean? RTD is giving a virtual talk at my uni. Well, you got to ask him these questions. You got to ask him. You got to ask him what's going on, even though he will say nothing. Showrunner needs to not include any concept of regeneration except when they're actually switching actors. Regenerations are cool when scarce, and we've had too many this decade recently. I agree, and I also would say the same thing about multi-doctor stories. I think other Doctors showing up now has kind of lost its specialness, in my opinion. And I know that they probably will for this special, but after that, I don't want to see any more for a while. Do you know what I mean? Not a diss to RTD, love him in general. I'd be interested in seeing him continue as an executive producer, but not as a writer. Yeah, I mean, that could happen. You know, I'm not going to completely rule that out. That's the thing, and that's why I'm kind of doing this live stream, is that there's still so many unknowns. There's still so many things we don't know yet about the future. Also, I don't think that don't know notification played, so I think Streamlabs might be playing up. So apologies, but I will read all of them if they do come through. Atomize, hello mate. To be honest, I'm not excited for the special, but I'll be glad if it wraps up all the loose threads. I really hope we'll get something new for 2027 onwards, probably with a new streamer. That's fair. That was my logic as well. It's like, even if this new special is bad, I don't think it'll be reflective of what's going to come after. So I'm kind of just happy for them to do whatever they want. It's kind of like Power of the Doctor in a sense. Like, was Power of the Doctor the most coherent story in the world? No. But at the end of the day, it's the final episode, and we know something else is coming afterwards anyway. So I'm kind of happy to just let them do their thing. Do you know what I mean? Oh, Timeless Shadow with a £10 super chat. Bloody hell. One thing that annoys me about the fan base is how they say Belinda just stood in a box the whole finale because it's an oversimulation of a serious situation and she was protecting her child. I get what you mean, but I do also think that Belinda was underutilized. I think probably a reason for that is that Ruby was kind of... The way it was written kind of had Ruby as the central character, and I think it leads to the feeling of Belinda being a bit of an afterthought, but I get what you mean. It is more complicated than that, but I think that's often what the fanbase will do, is they'll kind of simplify words, you know, for fun, which, you know, it can be annoying, but I think also it makes sense. Russell has no concept of wrapping up loose threads. I mean, yes and no, though, because, like, he could do it before. I mean, granted, it's always been the case with Russell that his resolutions were never, like, the best when it came to, like, the technical reasons for it. But on a character level, he can do them. You know, I mean, look at his first era. Do you know what I mean? Also, with it being 20 years of 10 and Rose, I defo think Billy will be Rose and will have 14 back again. Big, shitty Christmas fan wank, you then give me something new. That's what I'm fully expecting, and that's what I want as well. I'm fine with them doing a big fan wank farewell on the proviso that what comes next is something completely different. Here's the thing with Russell, right? And I think I'm a bit more, kind of nice to him than most. But here's my thing. As much as this era had a lot of flaws, I'm not kind of in the boat that every episode of this era was, like, irredeemable or anything. Like, I don't think it was. There were quite a few episodes of this era that I liked, and I would also say that I think it's fair to say that, given all that we know about the production of this era, he obviously didn't plan for any of this. Do you know what I mean? Like, this obviously wasn't his intention. Now, obviously, you can argue that his intentions may not have been any better, and, you know, a lot of people will say that the leaked, now confirmed, Susan ending is arguably, maybe in some cases, worse than what we got in the end with Billy Piper. But either way, I'm a bit more sympathetic because this era is not necessarily a product of... it's not necessarily a product of the whole vision in that sense. Would you like to see someone completely new Showrunner or someone who had written it before? I wouldn't mind someone who's written it before, but I wouldn't want someone who's, like, been here, like, loads. I think I would love someone completely different, but I think that you've also got to be realistic, and then they're probably going to want someone with experience. Also, thank you, Time Shadow, again, for another £2 super chat. Do you prefer the Reality War or Empire of Death? I actually quite like both. The interesting thing is, if it weren't for the Billy Piper thing, I probably would have said Reality War. But I think I'll say Empire of Death for two reasons. One, it didn't have the Billy Piper thing, and even if they resolve that next year, I still think that whole thing felt quite desperate. Two, I actually think that Empire of Death does a better job of resolving character stuff than the Reality War does. Empire of Death has those scenes with Ruby and her mum, which, you know, granted, the way that they get there is kind of clumsy, but the actual emotional core of that dynamic is quite strong. Whereas with Belinda, I just don't really buy into her, like, reality being rewritten. So for me, I think Empire of Death is, but neither are great. I mean, if it were me, I'd say Wishworld purely out of bias, but, you know, you didn't have that as an option, so. RTD, it's worth ending its era by finishing the boss and Susan arc. Well, this is the thing. Do we think Susan and the boss are going to factor in? Because this is the other thing as well. How are they going to fit it all in? You know, this is the question. Like, how are they going to fit in Susan, the boss, Billy Piper, maybe even David as 14, and then, like, presumably leaving it open for, like, another Doctor after that? Like, thank you, Jay Duncan, for the $5 US. Wouldn't it be neat if the special is Piper as a placeholder and Eccleston as a spirit guide of some sort, both trying to find the next Doctor? I would love that, but I think Christopher Eccleston would rather die than work with Russell T Davies again, so I don't think it'll happen, but that does sound awesome, and I would definitely watch it. Oh yeah, the boss. Yeah, that's the thing. Most people forgot about the boss. I don't even know. Who would they even make the boss at this point? I don't know. The story arcs were terrible, but we did get some good individual apps. I just hate that RPD came back with so little to say. That is fair enough. I was expecting him to maybe, like, get more angry, because I watched, like, years and years, and it's a and I was like, okay, there's going to be some fire to this era. And I don't think there really was. Tom, thank you for the £5. What's weird is that Russell agreed to write a special. Does that mean he was out of contract after season 2? Otherwise, he would legally have to. Well, this is the interesting thing. I picked up on that as well, Tom, so I'm very glad that you pointed this out. Agreed to implies it wasn't part of, like, his original contract. So, was he only contracted for the 2 Disney series, or was it like an open deal, or what? I don't know. I think that's an interesting point. Was he only going to stay so long as Disney were involved, maybe? I don't know. And this was just a further extension. I know that actually he did put on his Instagram. Hang on, let me get it up. Instagram. I saw it on his story. I don't know whether it's going to let me replay it now, but we'll see. Russell T. Davis. Here we go. Russell T. Davis, 4 hours ago. Oh, it's gone. Hang on, can I pause it? Yeah. Here we go. Always in a danger, jingle hells, silent blight, hark the weeping angels sing, oh come all ye, Naimon. So I think that's just him kind of teasing. I don't think he said anything else about it other than this, though, which I find interesting. Because normally, when a new Doctor Who episode gets announced, he'll do like a big, like, this Christmas, or next Christmas in this case, but in this case it was just, you know, an Instagram story, which to me, I don't know, it is a shift. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. I don't know. Also found it interesting that they, like, kind of changed up the graphics for this as well. Only marginally, obviously the logo's still the same. Is that logo going to stick around? I don't know. And I know that obviously he mentions, like, Weeping Angels and Naimon here. I don't actually think that they're going to have any plot relevance. I think that's probably just him teasing. It could be a Christmas song type title. Yeah, you could do that. What would you call it? It's Time. The start of the Mariah Carey song. When she's like, it's time. Has ever of his weird Instagram teas ever actually meant anything? A couple of them have had little teasers in them. But with this one, it just feels like Jingle Hell would kind of be a sick title, though. I'm not going to lie. That would kind of go hard. I'm not saying they will call it that. If you made all come ye Naimon, I would forgive RTD for all its flaws. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, at this point, I'm kind of just, as weird as it is to say, I'm happy to just let them do whatever they want. Because I don't think it's really going to matter that much. Do you know what I mean? So there's no Christmas special this year. Wait, a whole year for more Doctor Who. Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, that's not even that new. War Between's coming out this year, and then a Christmas special next year. It's basically the same as 2016. You know, we had this in 2016. We had this in what was the other one? 2019 was basically the same thing as well. I guess 2022 and 3 only had specials. So we're kind of used to gap years at this point, even though, ironically, Russell did say there's going to be no more gap years. It's going to be marvellous. But, you know, that didn't work out, unfortunately. How's that poll doing, actually? Let's have a look. Okay, so 65% of you, 185 votes, are saying no, he will not stay for after this special. The Christmas special will need to be like 2 hours 30 minutes to be coherent and solve all the loose threads. There's no way it's going to be that long. At best, I'm expecting, like, best case scenario would be like 90 minutes. So it'd be like the same as Power. I don't think you're getting any longer than that. Especially not on the Christmas slot. Did you watch Class when it aired? I was 15 at the time, incredibly embarrassed at how much I loved Doctor Who in middle school, so I did not. I watched the first episode, then gave up, and the funny thing is, I haven't actually watched all the way through it since. I know, sacrilege. That might be a video that comes to the channel at some point that I finally watched Class. It's the only Doctor Who spin-off I have not watched. Well, I guess technically the one episode of Kanon and Company as well. But everything else I've seen. Time Shadow with another £5. You're being very generous today, my friend. I'd actually be so sad if RTD left. He's my favourite showrunner, and I've honestly loved the last few series, so I want him to stay longer. You know what? That's fair, because we value all opinions here. I am more of a fan of this era than I think quite a few people are. I think it does have its issues, but I don't think it was completely devoid of any good episodes. I do think there were good ones. But at the same time, I am kind of yearning for a new voice as well. But we'll just have to wait and see. There's still like so many unanswered questions. 2016 Clinical with the £4.99. Keep up the good work, you Welsh mad lad. Question, does Doctor Who need a 2000 style reboot? Does it need a drastic reboot? This is yes, I would say it does. I think it does need as much of a change as 2005 Doctor Who delivered. We need that again, but for the 2020s. 100%. I mean, this is one of the things I've said for a long time. I don't think the 45-minute format works. I don't think it's worked for a long time. And I think we need something completely different. What that is, I'm not sure yet. Part of me wonders if it would be better off being completely episodic. I've definitely been leaning more towards that in recent months and years, because the best episodes of this era were the ones that were completely disconnected from any of the episodes that we've seen. From any of the arc episodes that were on. I'm praying that voice won't be PBT. Yeah, I'm not big on the idea of PBT. If he is the one that they select, of course I will give him a go like I would with any showrunner. But I'm not convinced yet. He hasn't convinced me. Maybe he can, but it just hasn't happened yet. At some point, surely they will have to revert to the First Doctor again. Surely it's just confusing as hell to newcomers. I have often wondered this, and I don't think they're going to do it yet, but I think that conversation may have to happen one day. I don't know when that day will come, but it is a valid question. I felt that the run we got with Ncuti was too short. I mean, I have seen people saying, imagine if Christmas just comes along and he just comes back, but I don't think that's happening. I would love it if he did get a little bit more, but I don't think it's happening. It's sad though, and this is one of the reasons why I'm happy. Ooh, I just knocked something over. This is one of the reasons why I'm happy that Disney is gone. Is that, like, let's be honest, they were the reason that he left. Like, right, like them basically delaying is the reason why he didn't stick around. And I think that is fair to blame Disney for that. Stage show with Ncuti as the Doctor would be pretty high. That would be cool. That would be cool. It's such a shame as well, because I always thought that Ncuti would have been great at like the children in need and that kind of stuff. Also, Time Shadow, is there a Stream Elements link? What's the Stream Elements link? Sorry, I haven't live streamed in a while, so you'll have to catch me up. Would you want the next Doctor to be a younger, unknown actor? I don't necessarily think younger, necessarily. I think it'd be interesting to have another older Doctor, actually. But I think unknown would be very nice. Then again, I suppose, if you're going to have an older Doctor, they probably are going to be known to some degree. I think an unknown Doctor would be good. Especially because, if the last few years have taught us anything, it's that having actors who are very in demand as the Doctor is kind of difficult. So I think maybe it's to their benefit to go with someone who isn't as ubiquitous yet, or as in demand yet. Like that All Streamlabs, some alternative donation platform that Super Chats. I did have notifications on via Streamlabs, I think, but it all went through the same thing. But I'll just read them. I'll just read them on here because I don't want to go fiddling with it now. I did have it set up at one point that it would do notifications, but I assume that's just because I haven't used it in a while. I'd love an older woman Doctor, personally. An incarnation that isn't as high energy as 13. I always thought, I mean, she's played Beat the Meat now, but imagine Miriam Margolyes there. That would be fun. I always thought that she could be the female version of a Tom Baker type. I think that would be very fun. Obviously not going to happen now because she's probably too old. And obviously she's been Beat the Beep and all that sort of stuff, but I always thought she'd be fun. Do you think there would be a Doctor cameo in The War Between? I doubt it now if it's coming out this year. And realistically, who would the cameo even be? I mean, it's not possible. It's not impossible that they could have filmed something with Ncuti, but I think it'd be weird to include it if they did. She's so popular now, but Olivia Colman. Yeah, she was always one of the ones that, like, I think that's the end of their issue, though. She is, like, David Tennant level so popular at this point, and I don't see her doing it. If there's a cameo, it'll be David. Yeah, that's a good point. If there is a Doctor cameo, probably going to be David Tennant. Would be cool if Matt Smith was Doctor again. I would like to see him again. I'm a Matt Smith boy. That's my guy. But I mean, they've always said it's interesting with Matt, Karen, and Arthur because they've always said they'll happy to come back, but they all want to come back together. So someone needs to make that happen at some point, and I hope they do. Emma Darcy would be good. I'm not familiar. Emma Darcy. RTD should focus on having the special as a finale, as if it's the last episode of Doctor Who. I think that's a good approach to have, even if it isn't, yeah. I'd love an alternate universe where we had seen Olivia Colman as the Doctor before she got too famous. Yeah, I guess the issue is, where would you put her? Because, I mean, she was in 11th Hour, but even by then, she was kind of on the rise. So I don't know, because obviously she was in, like, Peep Show. Peep Show is fantastic, by the way. I only watched that, like, was it late last year or this year? Properly for the first time. It's so good. I love Peep Show. When I found out that they got Mitchell and Webb in Doctor Who, but it was only actually to do, like, the robots in Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, I was like, damn. That's sad. Because I think that could have been so much better, but there we are. What is it with Doctor Who, by the way, and just always wasting its, like, comedy talent? Like, James Buckley was in Orphan 55. Not comedy necessarily, but Stephen Fry was in Spyfall and got killed off in, like, 2 seconds. You know? There was that one, who was it Bill Bailey, who was in Doctor Weird on the Wardrobe? Lee Mack was in Kablam. Like, they always just get wasted. And I'm like, do something with them, you know? But there we go. If you were to give Doctor Who a 2005 style reboot, what changes would you make? I would ditch story arcs, for one. It would go back to being fully episodic. Embrace, like, the just weird, like, wacky stuff. And by that, I don't mean just, like, have it make no sense. I'm also just mean, like, do stuff that people are like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing that. Because, like, one of the best parts of the last series was Mr. Ringading and Lux. That was one of the best parts. And the reason for that was just, wow, wasn't expecting that, you know, it was just organically cool. And it didn't feel the need to be like, well, it's cool because it relates to this old thing. So I would embrace more stuff like that, just cool ideas, I think. Another thing I would do is I would ban any form of, like, regeneration lore or multi-doctor stuff for the first couple of years. Jessica Drury, I have cerebral palsy, I loved your appearance on Doctor Who, and you should feel proud. Would splitting the special in 2 parts be better? Oh, well, that's so nice of you. I'm so glad that it made you feel proud. I was proud to do it. It was a lovely thing to be able to do, and you still can't get over that came out this year. It feels like an eternity ago, even more so for me because I filmed it like April of 2024, so before even season 1 came out, to give you some perspective, which feels like a lifetime ago. Would splitting it into 2 parts be better? Potentially, maybe one on Christmas, one on New Year's. Judging by the way they phrased it, though, it's probably all going to be on Christmas. Even though I probably would like a 2-parter, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I was disappointed with Mitchell and Webb at the time. Bill Bailey in Doctor Who, Doctor Weird on the Wardrobe, and OV2. Yeah, exactly. Have you guys seen that Bill Bailey video of him playing the Doctor Who theme on, like, the piano, but he's doing it in, like, a French style? It's so good. I'm curious when we'll find out more of the specifics of this Christmas special and the new series. Will it just be dropped on a random day like this? Maybe we'll find out on the 23rd of November. That's my theory at the moment, Atomize. That's my ongoing theory is... Because I think it's weird that they announced this on just a random day in October, when they wouldn't have had to wait that long for like Doctor Who Day. And look, I'm not complaining about, an announcement being earlier. That serves my interest perfectly well. But you'd think, if anything, if this was the big announcement, that they would wait until Doctor Who Day to drop it. That would be like a sort of thing of like, wow, it's Doctor Who Day and Doctor Who's still alive, But that maybe suggests to me that maybe they have other things to announce for Doctor Who Day, maybe? I don't know. I think they should just bring Shigeru back, please. I'd love it. I don't see it happening, though. I'd love it if they did, but... they'll probably announce the spin-off air date, 23rd. Yeah, that's a good shout. Maybe they'll announce it. Maybe they've done another colorization, maybe. Potentially. Are you excited for the War Between Land and Sea? What are your thoughts on it? Honestly, I often forget that it exists. And that's not because... That's not necessarily even like a reflection of, what I think its quality is going to be. But it feels like such a weird... Obviously, the last couple of months with us not knowing what's going on with Doctor Who, but then now today, obviously, us finally knowing what's going on with Doctor Who, it kind of puts War Between in this very weird spot as being the last dying ember of this Disney Plus era. The thing is, what happens if it's really good? That would be quite funny. I'm seeing a couple of you ask the same question, so I'm going to put it to a poll. You guys are asking, do you guys think Susan is going to appear in the special? So I'm going to ask you. I would like it if she did, and I would hope they would. Equally, I think it would be weird to try and balance that at the same time as all of the, Billie Piper stuff as well. I hope she is, but I doubt it. Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat, Vanders. I'm kind of in that same boat. I'm going to do a poll for you guys. I'm going to start a poll. Will Susan be in the special? I like doing the polls, because it gets you guys involved as well. It's not just me talking to myself. Be in the special. Also, I want to say as well, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's stuck with this channel in the kind of dark couple of months where we weren't sure what's going on. Because, I'm not going to lie, there was a part of me that was genuinely worried, because this has kind of become what is essentially my job. And I was sort of terrified of well, if it goes away, then what? So I'm really glad that you guys stuck with me. Damn, missed the earlier poll. What would you have said? Hello! Good day to you, Novo. Good day to you. How you doing? Yes, she will. So RTD can redeem himself. Yeah, but the thing is, and look, it's not a reflection on Billy, but do I want the reunion with Susan to be with Billie Piper? Do you know what I mean? And I love Billie Piper, but I just don't know whether that feels right. Do you know what I mean? I think it would distract me a little bit. But then another part of me is just you've not got much time. Get Susan in while you can. So I don't know. I'm of two minds. I remember the days of the 60s live streams. Well, you better believe, Space Fluff, as soon as they start filming for this new special, those live streams are coming back. We are going to be doing live streams of all of the filming for this special. I can guarantee you that. And videos and all that sort of stuff. You're going to be getting all of it. I promise you that. Yeah, I mean, my favourite live streams were definitely the 60th ones, where it was just blurry photos of David Tennant and Bernard Cribbins. You were like, what? Because it was just so cool. I nearly fell out of love with Doctor Who when Reality War TBH. Finally started listening to Big Finish. To remedy that, it worked. Well, there you go. It's interesting, because I definitely did have a period like that after Reality War as well. I think for me, what did it was... It's kind of a couple of... You know what actually is one of the big things for me? Is I went to a convention recently. Went to go see Millie Gibson at Cardiff Comic Con. And just seeing the fandom, The fans are so lovely. And it's such a nice environment. And it actually reminded me that, do you know what? Even if Doctor Who isn't around, it's never truly gone, is it? It's always around. You've just got to find the right people. Reality War, honestly, maybe cash out valid. I just remember feeling like, do you know Homelander in that meme where he's in the cinema and he's just like deadpan? That was me. That was me. I would love to go see some filming again. The joys of filming, living in Cardiff. Well, this is it. This is it. You're going to see Billy Piper, Doctor, and David Tennant, probably. Thanks for the autograph and Comic Con, by the way. Oh, that was you! Do you know what? Al, you were the first person to ever ask me for that, and I felt properly special. So thank you very much. And it was with a gold pen as well. I felt very fancy. I am at least happy that the show is continuing, even though watching in the EU will be harder, but I will find a way. I'm sure they will make it available in some capacity. I'm not sure what. Well, that's the other thing I was going to ask, and maybe I'll let it be another poll. Do we think they're going to be going with another streamer for beyond the special, or do we think that the BBC are going to fund it on their own? Because I do have some reservations as to whether I think the BBC will actually be able to fund it on their own. Everyone clapped in my cinema. I was just lifeless. It was weird, wasn't it, Asmice? Because you were with me for that. And, like, some people were clapping, but I definitely heard a few groans as well. Out of curiosity, outside of the Billy Piper stuff, how come you didn't enjoy the Reality War? I actually thought it was a big improvement on Empire Death. A couple of reasons. I think that Belinda, I didn't like really Belinda's character. I thought that Omega was kind of just sort of thrown in there, and it didn't really feel like his return had too much weight. And I'd probably say as well that the like dialogue and like some of the scenes were incredibly expositional. And like there was a lot of scenes of just people stood in rooms, you know. Love your positivity. Also completely agree and share your viewpoint on who cast Vera Grazio and a move to create a backdoor in a way for the show to come back after Disney cancellation. I mean, that definitely is what it was, and it's like I get it. I get that's the situation they were in. But like, yeah, I still don't love it as a decision. I am at least glad that they are going to follow up on it, because I think it would be even worse if that was like the final scene of Doctor Who for like the foreseeable future was just Billy Piper is here and nothing else. I think that would have been worse. I can only see BritBox working well. Correct me if I'm wrong though, but isn't BritBox just absorbed into ITVX anyway? And I don't see ITV partnering with the BBC to make Doctor Who. That just seems kind of weird. I believe that BritBox has just fully been absorbed by ITV now, but I believe it was previously a joint venture between the two of them, as far as I'm aware. The amount of discussion going on outside that cinema screening, watching the finales in cinema had been so fun. Even if the eps were questionably good, the company has been great. Yeah, no, I really do like the cinema thing. I do like that a lot, and I hope they do more of that. Doctor Who needs a streamer like Amazon. See, this is the thing as well. Obviously, people are always saying, like, you know, who should it be if not Disney? And I honestly don't have a great answer, because I think all of them have their own drawbacks. And I mean, we've just seen what Disney's drawbacks would be. And I almost feel like the same drawbacks could apply to quite a few of them. I think maybe Amazon would give more flexibility purely on the basis that, like, their main business isn't actually streaming at all. So I think they just see it as like oh yeah, this is an extra thing we also invest money into. Whereas with like Netflix or Disney, it's their whole MO. HBO is basically collapsing, and Warner Brothers is about to be sold off anyway. So I don't think they're a great pick. Paramount, I just don't think really have the like sort of like the kind of like the weight that you would want. So I think maybe somewhere like Amazon, maybe. But I don't know. I know that they're doing Bond at the moment, but we'll see how that pans out. We're about to find out what Amazon drawbacks are with James Bond. Well, that's it, isn't it? Well, that's it, isn't it? We kind of got to see what they do, how they handle James Bond, and then we can make a determination from there, I suppose. What route do you think the new series will go? I haven't got a monkeys. If it were up to me, it would be a reboot with a new showrunner. Whether that is what they do, I don't know. But I think that's probably what I would do. Interestingly, in the press release, this is a minor thing I noticed, they referred to it as the next series, not the next season, which is interesting because Disney always referred to it as a season. So I don't know whether that's a sign that we're going back to series, or whether it's just, standard language for a press release. But either way, I thought that was kind of funny. I honestly don't mind which word you use. They're basically the same. But, it's interesting. Are we going to, do another series reboot, numbering again? Because I don't really... Or are they going to do a thing of where they just retroactively pretend like this was series 14 and 15 and then they call it series 16? I would have said Paramount before they bought Skydance. They got bought by Skydance, who is now trying to buy Warner Brothers. They are trying hard to diversify and might putter out. Right, okay, so they're basically just becoming a giant mega monopoly. Okay. Fair. Hot take, I want David Tennant to come back. I think he probably will. In fact, you know what? That's going to be the next poll. I've decided. New poll. New poll alert coming in. And the results of the last poll was, will Susan be in the special? You guys seem very confident. 63% of you saying yes, and 38% saying no. About 100 votes there. Thank you for all who voted. Next poll. I'm just doing another poll. I love this feature. It's a good feature, this. Poll. Okay. Will Tennant be in the special? Imagine if they do bring in Tennant, but it's not 14, it's just the Bat Crisis. Just for shits and giggles. It's like, now we'll put the other Tennant in. I kind of agree that we don't need more Tennant, but I would honestly be shocked if they didn't do it. I don't know necessarily whether I need it, but I think that's what they will do. Tennant should come back at least one last time to wrap up the 14th Doctor storyline. I don't know, I don't know if this is controversial. I kind of liked where 14 was as it is, personally. But that's just me. New poll, do you like polls? That'll be the next poll, Walter, don't you worry. Do I want Tennant back? Not really, much as I like him. Do I think he's coming back? Almost certainly. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at. Yeah, you've summarised my thoughts as well. Also, do you guys like the... Oh, I nearly just knocked it over. Do you guys like the TARDIS, by the way? I've seen a few comments about it. It was just a Comic-Con. It was at the same Cardiff Comic-Con. I don't know where he got it. I think it's quite rare. He said it was like 1 of 10 or something. So, I don't know whether you can find another one of these, but I like it. Even if it's a cameo, I think Tennant will pop in. I agree. I hope the next era is more sensibly organised with the next three, with 3 series beginning, middle, end. Hate the 3 series rule, but makes sense to commission an entire run from the off. I'm not sure why they didn't do that. I know that 2 series is kind of standard for, streaming commissions, but, the standard for Doctor Who has always been 3. That's always been the standard for, a Doctor. So I don't know why they didn't say it's got to be 3 series. Personally. But, who knows? Yeah, I think the BBC are going to be very much more... If they do go into another partnership, I imagine they're going to be a lot more cautious as to the details of that that arrangement. Do you know what I mean? I think they're going to be very much more no, we want a 5-year deal or something. I think Disney was commitment averse, partially, yeah, but I also think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Disney higher up management changed in between the agreement of the deal and now. Like there was a change in leadership. I think the like CEO changed back to the old one or something. So it could also be changing priorities for them as well. Thary, do you think Millie Gibson being unable to defend herself from tabloids due to spoilers and Caroline Ford revealing the alternate reality war ending is telling of how messy behind the scenes for RCD2 was? Yeah, I mean the thing is with the thing is with Susan, with Caroline Ford, like the realistically, you're not gonna have a go at an 85-year-old woman for saying something, are you? At this point, it's like, sure, just say whatever you want. At this point, you know what I mean? You're Susan, you know, you can't have a go at her. But yeah, I definitely think there was a lot of mess going on for sure. I'm kind of worried the BBC won't exist in a recognisable format to 2027. Yeah, I mean that is when the Royal Charter is up for renegotiation, isn't it? For those of you who are outside the UK who don't know, the BBC has like this charter that what allows them to be the public service broadcaster, and like every so often it gets renegotiated, like the license fee and all that sort of stuff. So the BBC might change quite a bit after 2027. But I think it's worth saying that because we are still currently, at least for the time being, under Labour, and I don't think they would defund it, not to the same extent that potentially the Tories would have, or indeed reform. Not to get any political, but I got to mention it because that's how it works with the government and stuff. Maybe all the big leakers are 85-year-old women. That's true. Could be. This version of Labour, who knows? Too true. Harry's favourite never gets political. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I have my political thoughts. You'll know my political thoughts if you're on Twitter. Otherwise, I try and keep them off the YouTube these days. I can't be dealing with the comments. I can't be dealing with it. I'm Welsh, especially as well. So we have our own sets of feelings on things too. Big Disney nerd, but not a fan of modern Disney, but I still follow it. Yeah, that's fair enough. I like a lot of Disney stuff. I think it's pretty much impossible not to like at least one property that they so happen to own at this point. And I think that's completely fair. Who remembers the classic Thary's Reddit leak videos? Oh, good times. You know what? Given that something's actually in production now, we might get a couple more of those. You never know. I'll take anything of it. Yeah, same Cyber Industries. Oh dear. Dari should be an 85-year-old woman. Who knows? Maybe I will be one day. Have you ever watched Richie Reviews? Thank you, Time Shadow, for the £2. Is that the one? Yes, I think I have. I think I know the one you're about. Yes. Yeah, I was having to think for a second because I know there's also a guy who worked on the Classic Who animations who was also called Richie as well, but it's a different guy. I'm thinking there's two different Richies in my head, but yes, I do believe I have. Double camera angle should return if David Tennant has. It might. Do you know what? You want to know the true reason why it went away is I put away my laptop, which is where the second camera would rest, and also the desk has very little space left. But maybe if I move some stuff around, because I can actually reveal this. I'm having some construction done in the new year, so I actually won't be in here for the start of January. I'll be in the old room, which really long time viewers remember, and it's going to be a bit chaotic for a few weeks, but it's basically being done so that the doors get extended because they're too small and the wheelchair keeps whacking into them. So, yeah, so that'll be going on for the first couple of weeks of January, but I'm hoping that by then, War Between will be done. So the bulk of, I'll have done most of that content, and then, bring back the ridiculous leaks. It'll probably happen. There's definitely going to be some insane stuff for this special. 100%. It was weird how spot on a lot of the leaks would be for this era, not going to lie. The hardest one for me was when people would say that I was in Lux, and I had to be like, no, I'm not in Lux, because I wasn't, but I was in it. I wouldn't have minded being in Lux as well. Put me in all of it, you know? Breaking news, Peter Capaldi was cast as the 12th Doctor. What? That's crazy. The Theres Empire expands by taking over more territory. True. A new writer's tale would be very, very interesting. It would. I don't think we're ever getting it, though. I'd love it if they did. Theres is going to be in the Christmas special. I mean, look, Bad Wolf, you know where I am. You know where I am. I'm not against it. I can confirm, though, they have not reached out to me as of yet. I'd love it, though. I'm actually kind of jealous, because Doctor Who Filming Locations, he visited Bad Wolf on a day where the TARDIS was actually up and running. Whereas when I went, it was having maintenance done. So I wouldn't be opposed to a sequel. But in all seriousness, I'm very happy with what I got. I want to make that clear. But there's if they want to do more, I'm also not. I'm not gonna say no. So you're Billy's companion. I can neither confirm nor deny. Hoping this Christmas special will be released internationally. I'm sure it will. They'd be silly not to. I hope you come back in the finale of the next series, and then after that series, the show gets cancelled. What? So I'm just like a bad omen for like Doctor Who. Whatever finale I'm in, that always means the end of that period of the show. Like, because think about it, I was in the last Disney story as well. So technically, does that make me a Disney princess? I don't know. You tell me. But what do you think your character is up to? Well, this is the interesting question. In my headcanon, and you can have this one for free, because I have thought about this. In my headcanon, because obviously the character of mine that we see is in the alternate reality. So, in my headcanon, the version of me that exists in the normal reality is basically the same, but like, kind of, rather than talking about Doctor Who news, he talks about like, the Doctor as if he's like, like an alien spot, kind of like a Linda type thing. That's what I imagine he's like in... He's like me, but in the Doctor Who universe, if that makes any sense. Start leaking, like, when alien invasions are going to happen before they do. And, like, unit investigate him or something. That's what I imagine. Would you rather see the Cybermen or Daleks in this new special or in general? I mean, I'm a Cyberman guy, as you can probably tell. They are my favourite. But I love both. Like Clive. Yeah, basically. That's what I imagine my character is. Basically, younger Clive. That's what I imagine. I want Shirley and Bingham to spend more time in the TARDIS traveling with the Doctor. Me too. I discovered that they recently had a bunch of influencers go to the TARDIS. I say recently, I mean a few months ago. And apparently, like, it was quite steep and they had to have someone watch, like, when a disabled influencer went on there. So I'm assuming that maybe that's why they didn't want to put me up there in case I died. Because they probably didn't want to get, like, sued. But, maybe they could still do it. Who knows? I would love it if Darius was the Doctor. I mean, I would love that as well. But I don't think I'm qualified. Then they go back and make a survival special edition and then edit you into the last episode of the classic show. Yeah, when Ace and Seven walk off, I'm actually secretly hiding behind that bush. You can't see me, but I am there. I love Tale of Cyberman, and I'd love to see them modernised. I would too. Tharies, do you really think RTD is here to stay for more seasons? I don't, and I don't think most people do, according to the polls. Non-Wish World Tharies is the boss. True. I'm just saying, Russell, you know where I am. I would do it in a heartbeat as well. Uh, one of the funniest interactions I've ever had is was when I went to go meet Varda. Was it London? I think it was London. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. I assume it was London. But I was in the queue to get something signed by Varda, who obviously played Belinda. And someone turned to me in the queue and said, "Oh, can you sign my thing?" And Varda just had this sort of confused look on her face because she obviously had no idea like what was going on. And I was just like, "Yeah." It was just so weird. Oh, it's lovely though. It's always lovely when people say hi. You do it for free, no budget issues there. I said that when they offered it to me for Wish World. I was like, yeah, I would do it for free, but they did pay me actually, which was nice. Nothing huge. It was just normal, like extra amounts. But I would have definitely done it for no money. If Russell leaves, that means Murray will leave too. True. The thing is, Murray's an interesting one because Murray is one of those people who I could honestly have stay on forever and not mind. I love Murray. I unabashedly love Murray. You should have told her you'll know. Well, funny enough, I did mention it to Millie when I was at the Cardiff one because obviously we were in that scene together, and she was like, "Oh yeah, did you have a nice time?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was great." And I said I felt bad for her because I can tell you, there's a line in Wish World which is Millie's or Varda in this case says not Varda, Millie, aka Ruby, sorry, says, "How did Conrad become god of Earth?" Right? And like, bless her, she just kept struggling to say that line. And like, we had to redo that line about 7 or 8 times, and I felt so bad. But you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know in the final episode. But there we go. That's a little bit of lore for you. You were already on their payroll because you didn't hate all of RTD2. Yeah, yeah. As soon actually, guys, my net worth goes down by like 50% whenever I criticize an episode. True story. That does happen. I'd love Leela to make a return to Doctor Who. That would be fun. Yeah, I'd be game for that. I'd be interested to see how they did it. They never really explained why Mel got back, and I don't think they ever are going to, are they? The Rani's theme was the best thing Murray did since Where There's Tears. I do like his Rani theme. I also just love 15's theme though as well. It's like it gets stuck in my head occasionally, even still. Just it's really good. Like I love his theme. Leela did Interventions in Time. True. Would you rather Romana or River Song return? I kind of feel like River Song is done. I don't feel the need to really add much to it, so I'd honestly say probably Romana. 50's theme is arguably better than I Am the Doctor. Ooh. Oh, I think I love both equally. I don't think I can decide, but both are great. I'm still in denial about shooting. I can't believe he's gone. I'm right there with you, man. Hoping we get a Series 10 soundtrack release date on 23rd of November. I forgot about that. Do you know what, actually? It's not been that bad for Doctor Who news, considering we all thought it was going to die. Like, we've had the Series 10 soundtrack being announced that will come out at some point. Doctor Who is getting a special next year, and presumably, well, in fact, pretty confidently another series after that. And as well, obviously got the CBeebies thing, which was announced prior. There was something else as well. Oh yeah, and they reckon they found some more classic episodes. I want to do an update on that, but I also want to make sure that I'm thorough about it. So you might get that at some point, but I might wait until there's another like mini update and then kind of put them all together. I think that's what I want to do because I don't want to just like do videos on it just because. In that sense, if I'm going to do a video on Classic Who being recovered, I want there to be at least a good chance that it like will happen fairly soon. Because I don't want to feel like I'm milking it or like baiting people, being like, guys, look, this is definitely coming back. When like, you know, we don't necessarily know for sure. If that makes sense. So yeah. Also, thank you to Spaceflove Doctor Who for the £1.99. I know why I said that like that. £1.99 is the correct way of saying it. David, you'll be the Doctor to United. True. What is your favourite episode for each New Who Doctor? Ooh, I have thought about this. So Eccleston, probably Dalek, probably basic choice, but it's just Dalek. It's just fantastic, isn't it? Tennant, ironically, Turn Left, even though he's not in it. If you want one that he's actually in, I do like Planet of the Ood a lot. Might be a bit of an out there choice though. Do like Planet of the Ood a lot. So one of those two. Smith. There's quite a couple. 11th Hour I love. Doctor's Wife, even though, you know, Neil Gaiman. You know, we don't talk about that. I do love that episode though. Time of the Doctor, actually, I also really love. In spite of the fact that it does have to wrap up a lot. But I think that he did well. God Complex is great. Gil Who Waited is fantastic. If I had to boil it down to one, though, I think for me, Amy's Choice. Amy's Choice. It's Amy's Choice. Yeah, no, it's definitely Amy's Choice. Amy's Choice. One of my favourite episodes. Capaldi, Flatline. For me, yeah, it's Flatline for Capaldi. Failing that, Series 10 finale. 13, probably either War of the Sontarans or Haunting of Ildar. I go back and forth. Probably Haunting in terms of like quality, but I do enjoy the like Crimean War stuff in War of the Sontarans. 14, Wobbly Yonder, obvious, but I do like most of the 60th, to be honest. And then 15, ooh, probably Lux, actually. So there you go. And if you want to ask me about War, then I can stay on the Doctor. Do you still buy the figure sets? I do. Show Darius the love and click the like button. True, and also subscribe if you haven't. I am trying to still get to 30,000 subscribers. It's getting to 30,000 subscribers for me. I don't know what it is. I think it's become like, do you know when Capaldi tries to break through that like that diamond wall in Heaven Sent? That's what it is. Like, we're slowly encroaching on it, but we have been for ages. So I think once we break it, I'm going to be so happy. How many subscribers to 30,000? There you go. That's my rendition of that. I haven't seen Wobbly Yonder since it came out. It's so good. Amy's Choice is criminally underrated. It is. It is fantastic. In case the link got blocked, search Doctor Who transcripts. Okay. What transcript am I looking for? Is there a particular one? 30,000 get to go for it. I should set like a thing if I get to 30,000. I should set like a goal. What should I do if I get to 30,000? I'll cosplay as the 13th Doctor. There you go. That's what I'll do. George Sheard's black and white edit of Wobbly Yonder is brilliant. Is it? I did watch his... Oh, you know what? I never have eaten fish fingers and custard either. So that would be a good one. I remember his World of Time Doctor Falls one being very good. The black and white edit. Cosplay as neurotic? Well, that would just be like, what, me growing out a beard and wearing like some glasses, I guess. I haven't got the cosplay at the moment, but that could be the sub goal. Is I'll buy a 13 cosplay and wear it for a video. Wig and all, yeah, I'll do all of it. There's your motivation. So if anyone wants to clip this, this is your warning. If I get to 30,000 subscribers by the end of this year, I will cosplay as the 13th Doctor. There's your motivation. If you ever want to see me, I'll do it. Do you think you'll dress up for the Satellite 5 Halloween episode? Oh, well, I couldn't possibly say. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Sorry, Darren, not talking to you, talking to someone else. Oh, no worries, fair enough. It just came up in the chat, so I was like, oh, what's going on? That's fine, no worries. I'm so happy right now. I knew Doctor Who wasn't going to be cancelled. I'm so glad to be right. Same. I've been saying it for ages, you know? Man, I just need to find 600 people. I know. Well, this is the thing. That's why I said, if someone clips it and shares it around, you know, because I'm sure there'll be people who want to see that. Or maybe they don't. I don't know. We'll have to see. How much we got to pay for you to dress as 60? I'd do that for free. I actually do want the Colin jacket. I've been looking for a good one. I might get the Cos Daddy one. I'm thinking about it. When you reach 30k, or when, I like how you put when in all caps. Thank you. You reach 30k, you should create a 16-month calendar with you cosplaying as each Doctor and give partial proceeds to your favourite charity. You know what? I like the sound of that. I'll keep that in mind. Do you think they will release season 2 deleted scenes on Doctor Who Day like they did last year? I think the issue with that, though, right, is that a lot of the BBC have been very kind of cautious in saying, you know, that things were always meant to go a certain way. And so I think they'd be very, if they were to do deleted scenes, I imagine they would be very, very basic, if that makes sense. Get salt cherry, keep the dosh. Well, I appreciate that. But no, I probably would. If I was to do something like that, I probably would. You could dress as the 16th Doctor, shoot his kilt and a blonde wig. I'll do that as well. I'll do both. There you go. I wish they'd release an alternate season ending, but they never will. Same. It's a shame that we don't really have the same, like, pull as, like, the Snyder people. You know how they got, like, the Snyder cut released? If we could, like, release the, I don't know, the Belinda cut or something. No, we're never seeing that cut ending. Absolutely not. Do you have a dog? I do. In fact, let me get a picture up. I do have a picture somewhere. Instagram. I'm going to show you my dog. Here we go. Hang on. I have to put a new picture up of my dog. It's been a while. Thing is, my dog doesn't sit still. She's so energetic. That's why I probably don't take many pictures with him, because you run away. There you go. Hang on. There you go. There's my dog. There's Bonnie. Bonnie the dog. There she is. Bonnie actually was my suggestion of a name. I wanted to sneak a Doctor Who reference in there, and Bonnie Langford was recently announced to be coming back to Doctor Who, so I suggested Bonnie, and it stuck. So I snuck one in there. Like a Trojan horse, I snuck a Doctor Who reference into the name. So there you go. I don't think they know that. That's where my mind went. We loved Harry's dog. True. I'd love to get her in more videos, but like I said, she's just so energetic. She's lovely though. She's absolutely lovely. Do you think this special should see the return of the Toymaker? And it's revealed the 50 Doctor was in his domain all along. Oh, I mean, interesting. I mean, I love the Toymaker, but I don't know. Maybe. Canine dog costume. Do you know what? You'll be happy to know I have looked that up before. Maybe one day. I know she actually, it's weird, she quite likes jumpers, which a lot of dogs don't. It'll take like 20 years for a Shooty Gatwa special edition for us to even hear or acknowledge anything about the alternate ending. 100%, yeah. If we reach 30,000 by the end of the year, will you release a 10-hour loop of you singing Doctor Who? Sure. I will do that. What a beauty. Well, I'll tell her all the compliments tonight. Because she'll probably one of the best things she does is whenever I go to the loo and I get out of my wheelchair, She'll always jump in the wheelchair and keep the seat warm, which I just think is really cute. Oh shit, your Doctor in Distress song? Yeah, I do remember that. That was something. Amaz 11. Yeah, we did make it through another Wilderness Years. I did see Doctor Who production news making a joke about there being like a pin that was like, I survived the Wilderness months. And honestly, I would cop that if someone made it. Remember when we thought the cancellation of Disney leaving were genius marketing tactics? How times have changed. True. Remember when Graham Norton came along and there was that Radio Times article before it came out that you said that he was filming season 3 next year, and then that got cut. Remember that? We had a rough couple of months. We've had a rough couple of years. Don't mind me. I'm just here for Billy Piper. Do you know what? Fair enough. She's in the thumbnail. You know. This was less a Wilderness Years and more Doctor Who getting lost in a supermarket for a bit. Yeah, I quite liked that. I don't think that's... You can't really put that on a shirt, can you? Doctor Who getting lost in the supermarket for a bit era. Doctor Who goes for a wander, probably. The Wander Years. Or the Wander Months. The Wilderness Months. The Wilderness Weeks would have a cool, like, alliteration to it. The Foggy Months. You should do a bit on Stranger Things. Maybe. That might be a second channel thing one day. It's only going to get better from here. That's a nice thought. The Wandering Times, I like that. The E-Space, could call it. You know, bit of a classic reference there. The gap between the Reality War and the new special is actually slightly longer than the 1985 hiatus, and disappointingly longer than Shooty's whole run. Yeah, I saw someone tweet that the gap between Reality War and Billy's special will likely be longer than Shooty. Well, it will be longer than Shooty was the Doctor, and that's just depressing. Remember when RTD was announced that we were all filled with hope and joy? Now I'm just waiting for him to leave. Oh dear. What happened to the BBC cartoon? Apparently, according to that press release, it's still happening. I saw a thumbnail saying RTD killed the show. Like, bro, you can't just say the show's dead when it's confirmed to be coming back. Well, the thing is, right, like, no matter what was going to happen with this, like, era or, like, you know, whatever, I will always have that level of gratefulness to Russell for being the one who brought it back. It's like, yeah, you can say that, you know, the last era wasn't good, and you're perfectly fine to say that. But I think to say that, like, he's the one who killed it when there wouldn't be a show to kill if he didn't bring it back is kind of funny. Do you know what I mean? Get rid of one. Peter, Shooty, or Jodie. I'm sorry, Jodie. I'm sorry. I have to feel a little bad for RTD right now. I do a little bit, to be honest, because it obviously hasn't worked out the way he wanted it to. And, you know, maybe I'm more sympathetic than most, but, like, I still think he's the GOAT. At the end of the day, you know, like, when all's said and done, he's still written some fantastic Doctor Who. Yeah, he hasn't had the best couple of years, but you know what? He's still the reason we're all here, when you think about it, in a way. Will RTD work on the CBeebies cartoon? I don't think so. It's implied that that was more like going to be outsourced to like a separate, you know, firm or a separate like company. RTD isn't perfect, but he's done a lot for the show, so I still have a lot of respect for him. Yeah, that's where I'm at. There's no such thing as sympathy in this community. I think it's just people often underestimate how difficult a job of showrunner actually is. I think that's the thing. Like, I couldn't do it. I think a lot of fans think, yeah, I could be showrunner. I've always been pretty clear. I could not do that job at all. The pressure would kill me. Oh, sorry. Tharies, you're in episode 7 of the Tharies Chronicles. I just might be. Any thoughts on Nabil Shaban, who played Syl in Classic Who? I was so sad to hear he passed away. Genuinely one of my favourite Classic Who villains, Syl. He always has been. In fact, you can go back to a video of mine from years ago, I want to say 2022, where I said that one of my villains that I wanted to return was Syl. Funny enough, the other two in that video... Ooh, I think this tab just died. Hopefully I'm still alive. Oh, no. The other two were... Sutek and the Toymaker, funny enough, and both of them came back, and one of them was done well. And it wasn't Sutek, but there we go. I also respect Moffat and Shiv a lot too. All three men clearly care about the show, and that's what that's what we want for it. Exactly. Like, you know, I have criticisms of all three, but at the end of the day, respect, you know? I think RTD agreed to write was written that way because it's too soon in production land for them to announce anything concrete beyond the special. Maybe? But then again, they did say that there were going to be announcements in due course, so I don't know. To be honest, though, Autism Gaming, I think any writer has to be a bit full of themselves. I think that's just comes with the territory. And I don't even mean that in like a bad way. It's just you have to have a level of confidence if you're going to enter like a entertainment. Like, it's just one of those things you have to have, especially if you're going to be the front man to a show like Doctor Who. You kind of just have to have that a little bit, that bit of that showmanship. As showrunner, you got to write, produce, and do executive work outside of producing. Moffat said he got burnt out doing it. Well, this is my thing as well. I think that the showrunner role should be split into, like, multi things, like, rather than just being one giga role and that's it, you know? You think it's Disney's fault Shooty left? I'm pretty comfortable making that claim, yeah. I think if they hadn't dragged their feet, I think there's a good chance he would have stayed. I do believe that, yeah. As long as they generate content. I mean, look, I generate all the content. I'm happy to generate content. Don't worry about it. Who's your pick for showrunner? Someone suggested Toby Whithouse, he'd be pretty good. If we're talking people who worked on Doctor Who before, is it Jamie Matheson who did Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline? Him. If not someone from the show has passed, I don't know. Maybe someone from Black Mirror, maybe. I just had a brainwave. They should have a new companion called Petrol. I mean, now they can do it, you know? I've just had this name for a companion called Petrol. The name just pings, doesn't it? Just pings. The word Petrol. Petrol. What was that? I love you, Russell, but what was that about? I don't know. I love that in that video because even Stefan Powell looks a bit like, I don't know what he's saying. But I love him, though. I can't help but love the man. I think the thing is, like, when people talk about, like, the industry and stuff, and they talk about, like executives and showrunners and, like, corporate bosses, and, like, I think that's a valid conversation to have, but I find it weird to, like, have your main vanguard for that be Russell, a guy who is pretty openly, like, you know, very like proactive and like, you know, trying to make things like equitable and, you know, trying to raise up voices and stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? I think there are way worse people in the industry. That's not to say he's perfect, but like, do you know what I mean? Give me 1,000 Russell T Davises before you give me a Bob Iger. Do you know what I mean? He did win a BAFTA recently, and I saw a lot of people kind of being up in arms about that. But my thing is, it was a lifetime achievement from BAFTA Wales, which I can't say is deserved when you take into account his body of work and also what it did for Wales in specific. Like, do you know what I mean? My sister has a crush on the confused Annabelle. Damn. I'll let him know you said that. What shows are you watching right now? Good question. It wasn't a show as such, but I did just watch a movie which was Companion, which was Jack Quaid, which was about a robot woman. I don't know whether anyone's seen that. Jack Quaid being the one from The Boys. So if anyone's seen that. In terms of TV shows, I was watching something the other day. What was it? Oh god. There was something new I was watching and I can't remember its name. I'll get back to you. I've had a brain blast. RTD will always be a goat, but he has just forever altered his perception in Doctor Who's. I don't even know whether that's necessarily true. Like, he definitely might have a bit more of a kind of a less spotless like legacy than he would have had. But I also think that the overwhelming majority of people will just remember him as the guy that brought Doctor Who back. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I think his obituary is written, I don't really think that this will be like the thing that defines it, if that makes any sense. What if we all petition for 15's permanent return? I mean, listen, I'd love it. I think Shooty's moved on, though. I love it, but I think Shooty's moved on. I think he's moved on. Permanently, Shooty could never leave. Oh, dear. In my mind, if RTD does step down, Pete McTeague seems like the most natural successor. He ticks all the boxes like RTD, Moffat, and Chibnall do. I know people are mixed on his work, but what do you think? I think for me, it's just he doesn't feel fresh enough, which is a weird stipulation to make. But it almost feels like, because I mainly know obviously from his like episodes of Doctor Who, but also like his collection box set stuff, and like obviously I'd be more than willing to give anyone who takes on the job a chance. But my thing is just, I think I want like a fresher voice. Does that make any sense? The good from RTD far away is the bad. Yeah, like I think when you take it all in its totality, when you look at it all collectively, he's done more good for the show than bad in total. When you weigh it up, you know what I mean? Like, let's not forget, it probably would have ended in 2022 had he not come back. So there is that. Yeah, I completely get what you mean. Oh, I'm glad. Because it's not that I wouldn't give him a chance. I would give anyone who took on that role, a fair crack. But for me, I think I'd want someone a bit more like, oh, that's an interesting choice. Whereas I think Pete McTeague is like the safest option they could go with almost. I think. I think that's a good way of phrasing it. Maxine Alderson, that would be interesting. Did she come back? I swear she came back, but I can't remember. Did she? Am I going insane, or did I hallucinate that? She didn't write an RTD2 now. I must have just hallucinated that. For some reason, I imagined that she came back. Maybe I was thinking of someone else. Because I know that a few of the Chibnall directors came back for RTD2, so maybe that's what I was thinking of. £2 from Dylan R. I love the penguin profile picture. What kind of cheese do you like? See, this is a good question. I'm a fan of smoked cheese. I like red Leicester, and I like your standard. I don't know what the standard one would be called. I don't know your standard garden variety cheddar. I guess would be the standard, isn't it? Yeah, I hope she gets to write for the show again. Yeah, she'd be good. I'd be interested to see her write it again. Smoked applewood. I ain't heard of that. I do love smoked cheese though. Smoked cheese is great. I also like. Oh, there's a ton of cheeses actually. I love most cheese to be honest. Cheese is great. I don't even mind American cheese, although it wouldn't be my go-to. Uh, I also like paneer, like Indian like paneer, which is like cheese. Bro, I am cheese. Oh my god, I'm gonna eat you, cheese. No, 4 and 11 are my favorite doctors. They are up there for me. I think if I had to do my four, I did my four recently because it was a Twitter trend for a while. My top four are like in no particular order are like 11, 10, 4, and 7. Imagine Edgar Wright as a director. If only that didn't fall through. I know! He wanted to do it! That's the sad thing. He wanted to do it. I bet you he still would as well. I bet you he still would if you asked. Maybe they should let J. Michael Straczynski do it. I know he wanted to. Disney deal was a case of bad timing. They decided to stop pumping money into streaming before the era even aired. The show was never going to do Star Wars numbers, and they were already looking to cut. Yeah, I think that's very fair. As I said, I think they had a change in strategy midway through the deal. Jethro from Midnight for showrunner. Sure. Capaldi's my favourite Doctor, though my recent Big Finish adventures have massively raised McGann in my ranking. I went through a phase of McGann being my favourite. I think my favourite Doctor has changed a fair few times. Favourite classic is probably 7 or 4. And those are the two for the classic. And then new, it is kind of a toss-up for me between 10 and 11. 11 is my childhood, so I tend to go to that. Darius, what do you think will happen in the war between land and sea? I think, hear me out, guys. I think there's going to be sea devils in it. Big claim, I know. But I reckon that might happen. Don't tell anyone I told you. Thank you, Space Fluff, for the £2 super chat. Inspired by Dylan R, what's your favourite meat? Ooh, good question. Lamb, probably. Although I like most meat. I love a good sausage. That's going to get clipped. I love most meat. Pork. Yeah, I'd probably say lamb's my favourite, but, steak, Best Doctor all time is the Lenny Henry Doctor. That is a cool sketch. It's funny that they call back to it for that one. Was it Comic Relief? I think it was. Have you watched Devil's Hour? Do you know what? That's been on my list for ages, and I will get around to it. Maybe that's something I'm going to watch in the gap. I had a lovely steak last night. I love steak and potatoes. Oh, that sounds amazing. I predict the war between land and sea will be won by a last-minute attack from the sky. Imagine that. Oh no, the sea's got to fight the land. For the sky appears. That's the cliffhanger. Live Postman Pat movie reaction. Funny enough, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole around Postman Pat the other day. I think it was mainly because people were tweeting that one bit of the Postman Pat movie where the Daleks show up, and it just was on my mind. It reminded me of the fact that they like gave Postman Pat at one at one point like a giant like Amazon factory with like a helicopter and stuff. Weird times. Oh no, the Sky Devils. That'll be the cliffhanger. That'll be the cliffhanger for the end of the show. It'll be we've just saved everyone with the Sea Devils. Oh no, the Sky Devils. Dun dun dun. End. And that's what I think's gonna happen. You will accept the food basket. You will accept that. Yeah, it's great. I love it when Doctor Who gets references in things. It's always fun. It just tickles a part of my brain. Imagine we get a documentary called The War Between BBC and Disney. That would be a good name for the documentary. Yeah, that would be good. It would be fascinating to see, like, you know how they fucking they did Adventure Space and Time. If they did that, but like for the shooty era, so it was just this like, oh, Russell, I'm back. So we've had conversations with Disney, and we like your ideas, kid, but we need to give them more pap. So we need Sutek, you know, he's pretty cool and everything, but what if we made him a giant dog? What about that? Gabagoo. That's what I want. What do you think of Hugh Grant as the 16th Doctor? Funny enough, I remember of like speculation that he would take over from Jodie. I think he might be past it at this point, which is a shame because I think he could have made a good Doctor. But I don't know whether he would commit to that now. Uh, Family Guy Doctor farts in the TARDIS during innovation. He does. Doesn't Tannen voice that as well? I think he does, doesn't he? What do you think the main thing is limiting Doctor Who from being universally acclaimed masterpiece? Me not being in it enough. That's what's causing it, I reckon. And all seriousness though, I don't know. I think a lot of it with Doctor Who is kind of, it has to be right place, right time partly. Which is like a boring answer, but I think it just has to be the right set of circumstances for Doctor Who to like blow up, do you know what I mean? One of my favourite Doctor Who references is in Vicar of Dibley, where one of the main characters dresses up the bridesmaids as Daleks and she dresses as David Tennant. That was great. Love that. What they should do is make a dramatisation of the production of Series 1 and why Eccleston left. That's never happening. To be fair, a production of The Troubles of this era also isn't happening. I'd be fascinated to watch it, but I think it's probably still too fresh. I like the new artwork on the Doctor Who Twitter. I do as well. I like it. I don't know whether you guys saw it as well, but I did do a little South Park edit on my Twitter as well. I'll see if I can show you guys it. Where is it? Here it is. Hang on. I shouldn't get claimed for this, right? It's only like 5 seconds long. Hopefully not. Hopefully the South Park people are cool. Who even owns that anymore? I don't know. Is it Paramount? I don't know. Wait, does that show it? I think it is. So, the caption, by the way, was leaked footage of the Disney Doctor Who meetings. This was the clip that I put together. Woof! You don't talk to me like that, you little piece of shit. There you go. That was my contribution to the memes surrounding the announcement. I was just trying to think of like a funny clip that I could have used to give my thoughts, and that was what I went with. I like your top 4 doctors. Thank you. It's funny because it's true. Yeah. You might have talked about this earlier, but what do you think will happen with international distribution? Could BBC America come back for US distribution? I have seen people suggest that. I think they'll probably go with a new streamer. Who, though, I don't know. Because it's notable as well that they've let all of their back catalogue deals with other streaming services expire. So that implies to me that they might be trying to sell it as like an all-encompassing deal, if that makes sense. So you get the new stuff and you get, you know, like the new series. Battles in Time thoughts. Yes, I haven't spoken about this. I've been meaning to for ages. They're bringing back Battles in Time, which I think is so cool. And I really want my own one. Because they made Battles in Time cards of anyone back in the day. So it's not impossible, you know? What if this whole time Mickey Mouse was an anagram for Michael Grade? Michael Grade actually got reincarnated as Mickey Mouse. You heard it here first. Yeah, Battles in Time is coming back. Hang on. Let me get the article up. Yeah, I was meaning to like cover this in a news video, but like things got away from me and I just never got around to it. Battles in Time. Yeah, there you go. Here we go. This was in Toy World magazine. Hang on. Heathside Trading and BBC announced the return of Doctor Who trading card game. Expanding Heathside ratings with BBC Studios, the Doctor Who Battles in Time trading card game will return for its 20th anniversary. Heathside Trading and BBC Studios announced a new agreement to bring back the widely popular Doctor Who trading card game Battles in Time, originally launched in 2006. Became a fan favourite. So they're going to basically re-release the old cards and do new ones for more recent stuff. We have a long history of working on trading cards at Heathside, and a few of us were collectors of the original Battles in Time game, so we're thrilled to be bringing it back to fans with all new cards. There you go. So that's what to look forward to as well, I guess. Should we do an unboxing on stream? I reckon we should. Whether I'll be able to actually open the packets is another matter, but we'll see. Background character number 7, Battle in Time card. Thing is, we joke, but they basically did do that back in the day. Honestly, the way Disney have treated Doctor Who feels like the way BBC treated Doctor Who in the 80s. Yeah, you're not wrong. I think for them, it's just the thing of, like, it's almost like too small for them, you know, to care. Which sounds sad, but I think it is just true. Like, they just got other priorities, I think. It was always the risk of partnering up with someone like Disney, I think, is that they don't need it as much as some other streamers might, you know? Like, you know, they've got, like, Marvel and Star Wars, you know what I mean? I want new TARDIS interior, so I quite like the current one. I'd be kind of curious to see how different, if at all, this era would have been if it was like the exact same production team, the exact same creatives, except Disney weren't involved. Would that have made any difference? I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment. Someone is saying 8th Doctor spin-off. I remember that being a rumour for a while, but I don't think that's been confirmed. I'd love it if it did. Yeah, I hope the current interior stays, but they add more furniture. Yeah, I think that was one of the issues I was highlighting. Is people were saying to me, but because like the ramps were so steep, it could be quite quite dangerous to like go up there on your own. So that might be why there isn't much furniture up there. That's just me speculating, though. You don't have any chairs and you haven't noticed, and he never changed it. He literally says in the giggle, the first thing we're going to get in here is a chair, and he never puts a chair in there. Shooty, man. What happened? Press release says more info in due time. Do you think there'll be more info this year or next year? I reckon there's a fair chance we might get something for Doctor Who Day. I reckon. Because I do think it's a weird choice to announce this now, when they could have announced it on Doctor Who Day. Which suggests to me that maybe they might have something else planned for Doctor Who Day. The Doctor even mentions it again, enjoys the world. True! What happened, Shooty? What happened? I'm saying that like it was his fault. It wasn't, but you know what I mean. Doctor announcement on Doctor Who Day, that'd be cool, but I don't know whether we're that far along yet. Well, the only thing I could think would be them announcing, like, you know, a new showrunner, I guess. Maybe. Eating so good. Do you know what? We're eating better than we have for a while. I'll say that. Worst possible choice for a new showrunner. I mean, there's probably a lot of people that would do a bad job. I kind of want to just say a funny one. Would be a funny option. One that everyone could agree would not be good. Who wrote Sleep No More? That guy. Margaret Thatcher, there you go, yeah. I mean, I think she might be a bit preoccupied with being dead at the moment. So that might preclude her from the running. I don't fine with David staying on. The interesting thing is, I don't think he will, and I don't think you guys do, judging by the polling. However, if he did, the one thing I will say is that if he did, there's a fair chance that it would be quite different from what he's done so far this time, in the sense that he wouldn't have the budget to do like big CGI, you know, finales and that kind of thing. Was it Mark Gatiss? Oh damn, maybe Mark Gatiss then. Thing is, I do like Mark, but Sleep No More, what was he doing there? I watched that the other day. I said the other day, it was like a few weeks ago. Time is meaningless to me now, ever since COVID. But I rewatched that a few weeks ago, and it's just a bit where they're like, oh, the sand's been watching us the whole time. And I only went, oh, piss off. You know, like, no, silly. Donald Trump and Showrunner, it's just AI propaganda. Lemaire? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would probably be the worst option. Sleep No More isn't that bad. I don't know, bro. I rewatched it recently. I was not a fan. I was not having it. Jamie Matheson would be an elite choice, yeah. 100%. Yeah, Mark Gatiss is kind of hit and miss. A lovely guy, but bit hit and miss. I think what has happened will make Russell's rein things in a bit if he stays on. He'd be a bit less confident, and since I think he expected Doctor Who to be bigger globally, I agree. I think it would have definitely knocked his confidence. I almost think that might be to its benefit. I do like Victory of the Daleks. No, Manders, I'm with you. I'm a Victory of the Daleks defender. I will agree with you there. But there are some episodes where I'm like, eh. Thank you, Richard K, for the £5. I'd like Mark Gatiss to be sure. I think Hugh Laurie, Miranda Hart, or Richard Ayoade is the 16th Doctor. They wouldn't be my choices, but you know what? Respect it. We respect all opinions. I have, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, interesting. Hugh Laurie would be interesting, I think. Which one's Hugh Laurie again? I get them confused. I think I know who you are. Right. I'm going to Google it quickly. I want to make sure I have the right one. Hugh Laurie. Oh, yes, Dr. House. Yes. Yes. I can see it. House MD, yes. Yeah. Raki Takar. Why does that sound familiar? Were they the one in Class? Or were they speculated for 15? I can't remember. Raki Takar. Do we respect Bullstrike's opinion? No. That's that done. That's that question. Is he even still around? I don't know. That's not a name I've heard in a long time. Oh yes, no, they were the one. Yes, yes, I remember. They were suggested. I think. Do you remember back when there was speculation about Billy Piper, but before we knew for definite? But we knew that it was like someone who'd been in the show before who was going to be at like an award show, and I think this was one of the names that was like on that shortlist alongside Billy. Oh yeah, she was in Wonka. Yeah, yeah. Blackadder. Oh, you're right. You're right. Blackadder. Of course. How could I forget? It's weird how spot on those leaks were, though. That was crazy. They were like line for line. As soon as Jodie showed up in the reality war, I was like, oh yeah, everything else is true then. It's going to be Billy at the end. And it was. She's a Big Finish companion. Yeah, she does. She voices Bliss. Who was I thinking of? It was the Class one. Because he was also speculated, but it was a man who was in Class. I remember being speculated for a long time. I'm not saying he'd be good. I just remember, or that he would not be good. I just remember him being speculated. Let me have a look. Class. Yeah, it was Fadi El Sayad. I think that is his name. I think that's how you say it. Who was speculated for a while. I remember that. Bet you're Andrew and just made videos on your own leaks. I did not know that much. I wish I did. I thought that was fake. I was like, when they started saying it was gonna be Billy Piper, I was like, no, don't be stupid. Then, no, that is, yep. Leaks ruined the world for me. Yeah, that is a shame. It's a shame with The Well, because the funny thing is, I actually think The Well, they did a sequel to Midnight about as well as they could. However, I still think it would have been better off if it was his own story. Does that make sense? I think all things considered, they pulled off the sequel to Midnight pretty well. But it's almost like, did we need one? You get the call to write an episode of Billy's Doctor. What's the plot? Oh, how did you do that? I'm genuinely not sure. What would I do? I think it would have to be. I don't know. I'll come back to you. Get Invincible with the 5 Australian dollars. When do you think they start filming for the special and also for the new series? Do you think they should go for a darker tone or stick to how it's been? I'd like to see a bit darker. I wouldn't like to see like I wouldn't like to what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't need it to be kind of Torchwood Children of Earth levels dark, but I would like to see a bit more darkness. Yeah. In terms of when they're going to start filming, I honestly don't know. At a guess, I'd maybe say like spring, summertime, maybe, because they've got to have time for post production. But thank you for the 5 Australian. I do appreciate it. You've all been very generous today. I'm feeling very loved. Thank you very much. I wasn't planning on streaming this long. Heaven Sent Dark would be perfect. Yeah, that would be. Oh, yeah, no, sorry. It took me a second to figure out what you meant. Yes, I agree. Sorry, I zoned out for a second there. Yeah, most likely summer, yeah. Had my GCSE levels last season, well, my A levels next season, Lamau. Damn, you're still so young. Still so young and got the whole world ahead of you. Oh, I've not been to school for years. I'm feeling old. I'm 23 next year, guys. I'm getting old. I started this at 15. What's going on? I'm becoming unk. It's happening. And I bet you there's going to be someone in the comments who's like, well, actually, I'm 30, so don't feel too, or I'm 50. It's like, so you make me feel old. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I feel old now. I'm 31. Ah, damn. Most people are older than me. I used to be known as like the really young one. And then now I'm not. You know, bro is older than tech team. Like, alright. I was five when Doctor Who came back. I've watched ever since. I was two. So that gives you understanding. Define being old. The moment where you start hearing slang terms used in real life and you think you're old. And I can tell you the exact moment that this happened for me because it happened for me recently. I was in town right after Comic Con and I was gonna go get something to eat. We've got in Cardiff, Carl's Jr., which is an American thing that's coming over here. When it comes to England, try it. It's great. Anyway, so I was going over to this Carl's Jr., this burger place, essentially. And I walked past someone in town who just loudly turns to his girlfriend and says, "Is my hair chopped?" And like, I'd never heard this word said out loud in my life. And I just felt this feeling of, oh, I'm old. Oh no, I'm old. So that was the moment for me. Was there a Doctor Who broadcasted when you were born? No, I was 2003, so unless... When was Scream of the Shocker? Because I was July the 12th, so unless you count that. Thing is, I'd seen the word shop written out, but to hear someone like say it in real life was like, nah, I'm old. Then again, I had people in the comments to all my shorts say they didn't know the what the shorthand OP was. It's overpowered, by the way. So maybe I'm not that old. Yeah, I know Scream of the Shark was 2008. Oh, it was November. So it would have been out when I was a wee babby. When I was a wee babby. There you go. Top 5 TV shows you watched as a kid. Thank you for the £1.99 super chat. So, are we talking like kids shows? Because if we are, I would say, obviously, Saturday Adventures on there. Sparkle Mystery is on there. Banging show. When we eventually got, I think it was Virgin, we got Virgin Media, and then they gave us like Cartoon Network. So, Regular Show. I loved Regular Show. And then two more. Some other shows I loved at the time. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to like give you a variety because I don't want it to just be like all of the like CBB sci-fi ones because I don't want it to be like Saratoga Adventures and totally Doctor Who and you know what I mean. I want to like give you some variety. So what's the other? Young Dracula was pretty good. So I'd say that and what's one more? And I guess Tracy Beaker as well. And any Tracy Beaker affiliated thing. Ben 10 was good. Dexter's Lab. Oh, that was yeah. Thing is, I didn't get like the fancy channels, so like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon until I was about like 11, 12ish. Prior to that, it was just basically just CBBC for the longest time. Nah, Tracy Beaker's iconic, man. And all of its Tracy Beaker. You want to talk about like expanded universes? Tracy Beaker has like a full-on like cinematic like universe. I love Sparkle Mystery. Oh, I watched the first episode with the mate because I was like, "Do you remember this show, Sparkle Mystery?" And he's like, "No, I don't remember that." And I watched it with him, and I was like, "Oh, the flood of nostalgia was crazy." I loved Sparkle Mystery. Oh, I loved it. And Annette Badland was one of the like few adults in it who played Margaret the Slovene. So there you go. I used to think that world was so cool. My parents are aliens. Yes, that was good. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Obviously, you've got the standard cartoon ones. So like whenever we got like SpongeBob, obviously, the Simpsons. The Simpsons just specifically though the Simpsons whenever it was on Channel 4. Danny's House. I remember that. Yeah, with the aliens. Yeah. Trying to think. The Ooglies. Anyone remember the Ooglies and Bear behaving badly? Remember that? And like when I was a really young kid, I was really into Thomas the Tank Engine. But it used to annoy me because they would only play Thomas the Tank Engine when I was going to school. They would annoy me. Phineas and Ferb was class. That's the thing. With a lot of the American ones, they kind of came later on. You know what I mean? Because I only got those channels like later on in life. Not later on, it wasn't that late, like 12, you know? Yes, Bear Behaving Badly was class. Sorry, I've got to head off with Belter of the show. No worries. I wasn't expecting to be going this long. Come outside. Oh, what a banger. Oh, that was good. Chuckle Vision. I forgot Chuckle. How could I forget Chuckle Vision? Oh my god. I actually went to go see the Chuckle Brothers live when I was a kid. Best day of my life. Got to meet Paul and Barry. Rest in peace. What an icon. I'm watching you on my train home from having a curry. I hope it was good. What do you have? I'm going to rate the curry order. Horrid Henry. Yeah, loved Horrid Henry. What was the other one I was going to say? I was going to say another one and I missed it. What was it? I had it in my head. Oh yeah, I used to love, ironically, Lazy Town. I used to love, which is funny because you can probably tell I'm not the most athletic guy in the world, but I used to love dressing up as Sportacus. My brother would always dress up as Robbie Rotten. It was a fun time. He did write several episodes of Chucklevision. I actually went through and watched his episodes of Chucklevision once. I think he wrote the one where the Chuckle Brothers won like a manor for the day. Is Horrid Harry controversial? I feel like it's only controversial in the sense that people look at it and go, yeah, the parents kind of suck. And I feel like that's been said for a long time. The parents are kind of the villains of that show when you watch it. Like, half the time he doesn't even do anything and they're just like, go away, Henry, you like, it's terrible. Yeah, Teletubbies. I mean, I remember doing a joke on a video once that I was the Teletubby son. I wasn't, but Trapped. Oh, you're trapped. That was brilliant. Trapped. Yeah. 4 O'Clock Club. I used to like. Hank Zipser. All at Sea. I'm firing off a bunch. What's New Scooby-Doo? Yeah, I used to love Mystery Incorporated as well, which is the one after that, which was like really good as well. Did you watch Nowhere Boys? I'm not. What was that one? I don't remember that one. Adventure Time, yeah. See, in terms of Cartoon Network, regular shows are my favorite, but I did like Adventure Time and Gumball as well. Hank Zipser, yes, elite viewing, true. Dennis the Menace, classic, love that. Futurama and Simpsons on Channel 4 with a chippy, goddamn British institution and icon, yeah. Simpsons specifically for me, because I'd always remember it because like Hollyoaks would always play after. Gumball is a British show, is it? I thought it was American. Do you think David Tennant will be in the TV series? I mean, he's in everything else. They might as well. They might as well be like, sure, David, do you want to come along? mean, he does voice, what's his name? From DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck. So he has got form for it. Mr. Incorporated is the best Scooby-Doo hands down. It is. It's so good. It has no right to be as good as it is. Trapdoor? I don't remember Trapdoor. Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes, Big Brother was great. Yeah. I used to love watching, often when I'd come home, I don't know what channel it was on, but they used to do repeats of the 60s Batman show. And I used to love watching it. I bought recently at a con, it's in my other room, a Hot Wheels like 60s Batmobile, which is the best Batmobile. Between that one and the Keaton one. Those are my two favourite. I prefer it when the Batmobile actually looks like a car. I don't want to sound too old about it. Mr. Bean animated, I do like the animated show, but I think I prefer the original show. I do love the original Mr. Bean show and all the movies. Deadly 60 was a classic. See, I was one of those kids that like hated like nature shows, so I was always like, nah, Deadly 60, turn it off. Did you ever watch Arthur on TV? Yes, I always remember that. That was always on early in the morning, wasn't it? I do like the Batmobile, and I do appreciate it for being more of an actual car. But I almost think that one's not as exciting. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's sort of, it's like very stripped back. It's a nice car, don't get me wrong, and like I definitely like it more than some of the other Batmobiles. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's getting late. Animated series Batmobile is going true. Batman and Robin toys went crazy. I had in one of my old houses there was a VHS player, and we had Batman and Robin and Spider-Man 1 on VHS. Best time of my life. Justin's house and In the Night Garden, our peak CVs. Oh, In the Night Garden. That used to always be like the. In fact, my childhood nickname, I probably shouldn't tell you this, was Tom Bleeboo because of the characters, and my name was Thomas. So there you go. Mate, kids' TV is not the same anymore. It's sad. Yeah. Dick and Dom were legends. Yeah. The thing is, the issue is that they just don't care about TV anymore, though, do they? They just want to watch like TikTok and stuff and YouTube, and I get it. And I mean, it does benefit me, I guess. So I guess I shouldn't bite the hand that feeds me too much. But yeah, it is sad. You've been framed. Yeah, You've Been Framed couldn't really like work now, could it? Because the need for that has just been entirely usurped by like funny internet videos. We did mention Young Dracula. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I used to enjoy that a lot. Never the Bear. What a king. Children's TV was never what it was. Every generation has this. True, I mean, as long as it still entertains the kids, I guess that's what matters, right? Like, I know the kids love Bluey now. They love Bluey, don't they? That's like one of the BBC's big, like, everyone loves Bluey, all the Bluey merch and stuff. TV bit, I mean, iconic. Some sad generation had to grow up with Ben Affleck Batman toys. To be fair, he only got, like, what, 2 movie appearances? So did they even really grow up with him that much? Like, it was like, what, Batman vs Superman 2016, and then like the Justice League movie, which was like, actually no, it's 2015 for Batman vs Superman, and then Justice League was what, 2017, and then the Snyder Cut was 2021. So I don't even know whether they'd had that much to grow up with. I feel like more often than not they would just re-release old stuff for Batman. I feel like. I mean, there definitely is an Affleck Batmobile. I just don't know how common they were at the time, you know? BBS is it 2016 or 2015? Because I thought that Suicide Squad was 2016. Unless they were both the same year, I can't remember. Ugh. I think, my ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call it there. It has been about 2 hours. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for your support. I'm glad we're all happy. We can all share in this moment. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and probably the following day. And I will see you soon. Both were in 2016? Okay, fair enough. Night, everyone. Bye. Bye. Bye.